I'm Jeremy Wade, freshwater detective, explorer, and angler. I've been fishing the world for over 3 decades, but it's the impenetrable Amazon that keeps calling me back. Now I'm returning to South America on the mission of a lifetime, to spend an entire year going further, deeper, and more remote than I've ever been before, in search of the Amazon's ultimate river monsters. All along these remote rivers, I've heard stories of a fish so huge it can swallow a man whole. Locals call it the lau lau.
There was a human body inside.
I've spent 20 years trying to hunt down a single colossal specimen, but so far, this giant has eluded me. It's left me wondering if there are any still out there. My mission to find out will push me to the very limit. But this time, I'm not coming back until I catch one.
In 1913, President Roosevelt ventured deep into the Brazilian Amazon on a dangerous expedition to map a previously unexplored tributary known as the River of Doubt.
He kept a meticulous journal chronicling life in the remote jungle. One entry stands out. 2 men were fishing on an Amazon tributary when, without warning, a vast fish leapt from the water and attacked them. With wild slashes of their machetes, they fought the animal off until the river ran red with blood and the beast succumbed.
Described as a giant over 9 feet long, the culprit could only be one of 2 legendary South American heavyweights. I've wrangled huge arapaima many times, but the other fish stands alone. Looking more like a shark than a typical catfish, the piraiba can grow to monstrous sizes, with the anatomy and, some say, the attitude to tackle human prey.
Also called the lau lau, I've hunted this fish for 20 years. But from Brazil to Colombia to Peru, the trail has gone cold.
A lau lau of man-eating proportions remains the one glaring absence on my monster hunting resume. Do they really still exist?
But now there's news of a vicious attack by a large fish on a young boy on Guyana's Essequibo River. It's just the lead I've been waiting for. I immediately make my way to Guyana. Lying just above the equator at the top of South America, Guyana is a wild, little-known place. Almost the entire country is jungle. I've been here once before, but Guyana's river system is so extensive, I've barely scratched the surface. It's the perfect place for a giant to hide. My journey starts in the capital, Georgetown. I'm heading to the fish market to see what the locals know about the attack. En route, I re-examine Roosevelt's journal.
President Roosevelt was constantly warned about this fish. The local people feared it a great deal, and he's pretty detailed in his description. He says this is a grayish-white fish over 9 feet long, with the usual disproportionately large head and gaping mouth. And one chilling detail, it occasionally makes prey of man.
It's a claim that I still hear throughout South America, over 100 years on. But the evidence I need, a man-sized laulau, has so far proven impossible for me to catch.
All I want is some little lead, something to follow up.
Guyana is a melting pot of cultures and ethnicities, but as a former British colony, English is widely spoken. I pick my way through the market, taking every opportunity to quiz people about this elusive giant.
You ever have laulau come here?
Yes, the head of the fish in this size and fat.
And this is a long time ago?
Late last year.
So he's saying he saw a fish last year that was getting on for the size of this table, from the end here up to pretty much where the woman is standing. Very good news, they're still around, big ones.
But I won't allow myself to get too excited just yet. I want to know if anyone else has seen one of these giants.
Do you ever see them in here?
Not on the coast, but inland.
Yeah.
We find them inland. And they can get really huge, but the big ones are rare.
Are people afraid of them at all?
Yeah, they're dangerous. Because they're catfish, they have a big mouth, so they just like... A really big one, like a 10 or a 12 footer, can swallow a human.
Have you heard any stories of people being attacked, being swallowed?
Yes, you hear about people getting attacked. Recently, 2 boys were fishing in a canoe, fishing with bow and arrow, and something hit the boat. And one of them was thrown overboard. Grabbed him on his leg. They had to rush the boy for medical attention. He went back into his village probably about a week ago.
So it's possible that if I'm in that area, if I ask around, I might even be able to meet the boys or something? Well, I wasn't, to be honest, expecting an awful lot from that. There weren't any laulau on view. People are saying, yes, it's big, it's dangerous, it can swallow you. But then this one story, which is incredibly similar to the one in the Roosevelt Journal.
And in this case, the boy was physically grabbed.
Something which sounds totally outlandish, like it's a complete 1 in a million event, but it turns out that maybe it isn't.
It's this apparent malicious intent that sets the laulau apart. People say this is a fish that actively targets human prey. To discover exactly what happened to the young boy, I find a pilot willing to fly me into the heart of Guyana's rainforest, to the boy's village of Apoteri.
Down below me is an expanse of rainforest, so impenetrable that it hid one of the world's biggest waterfalls, Kaijia Falls, from outsiders until just 150 years ago.
If true giants are still to be found anywhere, it's deep in the unspoilt tropical water below me. But where exactly? As we approach the small Amerindian outpost of Apoteri, the jungle becomes blanketed by dense cloud.
I have to say I'm slightly bothered by all this cloud. It's pretty well unbroken, quite thick. It could mean it's raining down there. That could mean higher water levels, and that is going to make the fishing harder.
I learn that the young boy will arrive with his father later that day. I'm itching to get a line in the water, so I head off with a fisherman named Neville to find some bait. He leads me through the forest to a particular tree, but it's what falls to the ground from it that we're looking for.
We use the seeds for catching a bait. We cut it, and then you find a worm inside.
A worm?
The insect. Just lay inside and then form up a worm.
So it's feeding on the
They're
nut.
feeding on the nuts, all the time feeding on the nuts.
So do you want to open this one? Ah, there's a hole. Ah, yeah. That's big. Yeah, it's trying to bite me, actually. So it's really sharp because they actually cut through this hard nut. It's just a sack of amino acids and goodness. From a fish's point of view, they're going to love that. One thing this really underlines is the importance of local knowledge, how to actually get started. If I was going to work this out for myself, I'd just be wasting time. It's perfect bait to entice smaller fish. Ah, and the fish are coming already.
Yeah.
That is quite incredible. You could see the fat forming a sort of slick on the surface, and these fish just came from nowhere. Ah, first time.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh.
yes. Look at that. We're on the way. This is moving up the food chain. So from palm grub to miniature fish, to slightly bigger fish, to top predator. It's just the essentials. It's just a hook, a little bit of wire just to protect against piranha teeth, a bit of weight, and the line. And I'm going to whirl that around my head, lob it out. That's the one. And then you're feeling with your fingers on the line, which is what I like to do with the rod, actually. You get a lot of information if there is anything moving down there. Now, it's a waiting game. Oh, there's something. Fish. Something bigger than I bargained for has taken my bait. I'm going to go in the water if it's tipped over like that. I'm exploring a secret stretch of Guyana's jungle waterways, on the trail of a giant fish that's said to swallow men whole.
A really big one can swallow a human.
While handlining for bait with my guide, Neville,
Fish.
I've hooked into something much bigger than I expected.
Take it in.
All right.
Yeah.
That is just a beautiful, beautiful fish. More to the point, it's very encouraging. Incredible to think that a couple of hours ago, a palm nut on the floor in the forest has turned into this. Known locally as a basher, it has a huge mouth for its size, but they don't reach anywhere near the size of a man-eater. I don't want to speak too soon, but if things keep on this trajectory, then maybe I will get that monster that I came here for. With bait sorted for the following day, we head back to the village, where the young boy I heard about at the market is due to meet me. His name is Nenon. Still shaken from his ordeal, he's accompanied by his father, Nigel. Nigel, can you tell me exactly what happened to Nenon in the water?
He was playing in the water with his friends, and something grabs him on his leg. One of his friends who was with him shot the creature.
So he was holding on to a canoe while this thing was trying to pull him into the water.
Yeah, he was holding tight on the canoe. His friends with the bow and arrow shot the animal.
Nenon shows me the scars on his legs. That's something with some big teeth, isn't it? I mean, that doesn't look like... I heard it was a fish, but this... What was this?
It was a black caiman.
A big black caiman. The fact that the perpetrator wasn't a fish is a setback for my search. My best chance now of finding a Lau Lau is to head even deeper into the rainforest, following the winding river and setting up camp on its banks. Stringing up my hammock on the edge of the village, I rest up for the trip. We leave at first light. How long this rain's been going, I woke up to the sound of it. It's not heavy as yet, but it's pretty constant. It's not good news. At dawn, Neville helps me assemble a crew from the village and gather supplies for the treacherous journey ahead. I'm dependent on the locals to get me to the remotest parts of this river. As I feared, there's been unseasonably heavy rain, and high water disperses the fish, making them much harder to find and catch. Encouragingly, though, we pass absolutely no other boats or habitation for the entire journey. Perhaps here, lau lau really are free to grow, unhindered. We set camp with help from another man, Josie.
See you, Jeremy.
On this trip, more than ever, my gear is critical. A giant lau lau has eluded me for so long that I can't take any chances. I've got my best equipment from all over the world. High-tech braided line from Germany, hooks from Japan, and a custom-made rod from the US. The next step is to locate the fish. The thing about big fish is they get big by minimizing their energy output. And where you've got a dip, a fish can lie there out of the current without expending any energy, and also any food that comes down is going to tumble into that space, like a conveyor belt bringing food to them. A very good rule when you're fishing, think like a fish. Where would you be if you were a fish? But lau lau are known to migrate with the annual floods. With this unexpected high water, are they still here?
33 foot off here. Okay, just keep coming.
I use a sonar device to help me decipher the structure of the riverbed and locate deep pools in which to place my bait.
There's a definite hole here.
I fish on well into the evening, but with absolutely no interest in my bait. It's absolutely nothing. It's pretty depressing. After dinner, my fishing crew and I share stories. Surely if huge lau lau are to be found in these waters, these lifelong fishermen will have had encounters.
What's the biggest lau lau that you've seen?
Well, the biggest lau lau I ever seen was about 210 or 15 pounds. That is the biggest fish I ever seen in my life.
The size of the mouth of that, would you be able to put your head in? Would you be able to put your shoulders in?
A human head could fit in very, very easy. Can do a lot of damage. People here are very afraid.
I've read something in an old book about people believing that this fish can actually swallow people. Have you heard any stories like that at all?
Yeah, I have heard stories from an old guy who was telling me a story about a fisherman. Somehow caught the big fish and carried to the market. They're showing off with this big fish. And the fish was looking very big, and like the belly was full, that it had something in its belly. And when they opened it, there was a human body inside. All mashed up and crushed. All rotten.
So an entire person inside.
Certainly they know it's a human. Could be a fisherman or somebody just baiting and been caught by lau lau.
And so these fish, they're right here in this river?
Oh yes, they are here.
Yeah.
They are here.
So that's quite a thought, fish that size.
Yeah.
Quite a terrifying.
Very dangerous. So be careful.
When it comes to river monsters, It's an incredibly elite few that have the potential to devour a person. But can a monster lau lau really be capable of swallowing a person whole? Never have I wanted to catch one more. But as I try to drift off, I hear something moving outside my tent and realize I'm not alone. In Amerindian legend, when lau lau grow old, what unusual feature are they said to develop? In Amerindian legend, when lau lau grow old, what unusual feature are they said to develop? The answer is thick black hair. I'm deep in the South American jungles of Guyana, weeks into an exhausting mission to catch an alleged man-eater, and where I've suddenly been woken by noises in camp. That was a noise, sort of crashing around noise. It's quiet now, but I think something was moving around out there. As the sun rises, whatever it was has long gone. But I'm intrigued and concerned enough that I decide to rig camera traps at the edge of camp. I place 3 at different angles, looking out over the water's edge. Leaving the traps positioned and primed, Neville and I set out onto the water and find another deep pool with the sonar.
52, 52.
Neville shares with me the result of his early morning bait fishing.
We have 4 species of fish here: silverfish, yakutu, piranha, and dari.
Go with half a fish to start?
This here,
Let's do that.
I'm here to catch an elusive giant, but I'm not getting far.
There's very little doing. I mean, there's nothing doing. There's nothing really to keep the hope alive at the moment.
To make things worse, tropical storms are striking every few days, shedding inches of water in just hours.
If this carries on, then the water's going to go up. It's going to start colouring up. So I'm really hoping that this is just a passing shower, but no way of telling at the moment.
Even in ideal conditions, lau lau are notoriously difficult to catch. High water not only makes the river harder to read, it gives fish much more room to hide. The uneventful hours roll into days. Almost every waking hour, I have a line in the water. After 20 years of searching for this fish, I have to keep on battling and maintaining my focus.
I might just get one take, and if I mess things up, then that's it. There'll come a moment where it could go either way. The elation of catching a fish that I've been trying to catch for so long versus the total despair if it's gone. When that opportunity comes, I just want things to go the right way.
I decide to change tactics. I take up position on land to stake out the pools.
Now, is it possible to pull the anchor and just go into the rock, just the quiet water? If we go closer to the rocks, we're slightly off the main current, so the bait should just settle to the side rather than more in the middle of the current.
I've found an ideal spot at the perfect time of day. I've done everything I can to maximize my chances. Do good things really come to those who wait? I'm on a remote stretch of river deep in the forests of Guyana, continuing a 20-year mission to catch a notorious South American monster. All through this region, I've heard that the lau can grow to mind-boggling sizes.
A really big one can swallow a human.
But throughout my whole career, I've never landed one bigger than 70 pounds, let alone a man-eater. I'm hoping my fortunes are about to change.
It's off, it's off. It's off, whatever it was. So annoying. All I can do is get another bait out. That's another session with no interest whatsoever in the bait.
I could be fishing an empty river, pretty much.
But I decide to stick with my new tactic of fishing from land. Neville takes me to a sandbar that he suspects has some deep water alongside.
I just really like this spot here. It's just perfect predator ambush territory. This has to give us a better chance than everywhere else. I'm going to camp on a sandbar here and actually keep a couple of baits out overnight. Sleep next to the rods.
Every day, I've been up at dawn and fishing after dusk. Now, to maximize my chances, I'm going to keep a line in the water through the night. If I fall asleep, I might miss a take, so I'll need some high-tech gear to keep me on guard.
I'm pretty well attuned to these things. Basically what happens, the line is passing over a roller there, and if the line moves at all, it actually sends to this receiver here, and this buzzes. It also vibrates. I've got some quite big baits on. If anything goes, it ought to be something quite interesting. So it's not just a waiting game, it's time. Yeah. Not really quite sure what time of the morning it is now, but it's been very, very quiet tonight. Nothing really doing, though, until this. Apparently they call this a blinker locally. Pretty as this fish is, I'm after something that could actually swallow this thing easily and possibly even swallow a person. The thing I'm after is more predatory, more monstrous than this by a long way.
At daybreak, we head back to camp. My thoughts turn to the camera traps that I've left near my hammock to investigate the noises that have been waking me at night.
Oh, good grief. There was a flash of open mouth and teeth. I think that's a caiman. This is a point of view of having your face bitten by one of these things. Quite disturbing. It's got something in its mouth. Just a few bites, that's it, it's gone. Oh, what's going on there? There's other eyes in the background. What a gosh! That's incredible. No wonder I've been hearing noises. My hammock is just a little way in that direction. Right, okay. Maybe I shouldn't hang around here too long.
The black caiman's intrusion into camp is a sobering reminder of the dangers in this wild place. I'm glad to make my way back onto the water. But as more days pass, maintaining my focus is becoming a challenge. I have to dig deep. This is a fish I've been on the trail of for 20 years now, since I first came to South America, trying to work out where the big ones are still to be found. In most places, the trail has gone cold. This place that I thought was unknown to outsiders, I might have left too late. Too late. Fishing daytime, nighttime, evening, morning. I'm starting to lose track of time, what day it is. I'm in this sort of in-between state. It's not exactly awake, it's not exactly asleep. Somewhere halfway between the two, the place gets to you. I must keep my eyes on the prize, a man-sized laulau. After resting up into late afternoon, I head back to the rock where I lost the fish just a few days ago. The water has definitely dropped. Oh, there's something, there's something, there's something, there's something, there's something. I've embedded myself deep in Guyana's dense tropical forest with one simple goal: to catch the fabled man-eating fish they call the laulau, the giant that's eluded me for 20 years. I've got a local guide, the perfect untouched habitat and specialized equipment from around the globe, but the water conditions have been far from perfect. Stop! And my relentless fishing campaign is wearing me down. I cast into a promising spot near camp. Oh, there's something, there's something, there's something, there's something, there's something. A deceptive amount of line out here. That's a good sign. First cast. Fish has woken up. All right, there's the leader in sight. That's red-tailed catfish. Well, I'm hoping that's not just a one-off. That's almost like the switch has been thrown. Incredible to get a take on the first cast. It's just blowing air out the gills. And that clicking noise, the squeak, is the pectoral fin. It's a small red-tailed catfish, but it's activity. There's finally some activity here. Not a huge fish, but could be quite a good sign. If the perfect size prey have become active, perhaps the laulau isn't far away. The weather is also clearing, and telltale tide marks begin to appear on the boulders. As the water recedes, the fish should become more concentrated. Today I saw a rainbow, and that lifted my spirits. Maybe I'm clutching at straws, but I'm possibly feeling a little glimmer of hope. I awake to the calls of howler monkeys. And for the first time in over a week, set out into a bright, clear day. So maybe just here? I position a bait in the middle of the pool, then pay the line back to the rock. It's when the fish takes, particularly a big fish, it can go to just complete chaos in a fraction of a second. If you don't do everything right, that's when you can get human error. A lifetime of observing and refining my skills has brought me to this place. The trap is set.
I'm bringing about 150 yards of line here.
It's a truly bizarre-looking fish known as a diwala.
It's just so quiet at the moment. I'd actually rather not be catching, to be honest. I want the bait to sit there until a lau comes along. What it does mean, though, is I've got to get the bait back out there again, get the boat out. Oh! I'm just going to take up slack on here. And I think I'm going to put that down until something decisive happens. That's more serious.
This time, I have no doubt about what's on my line.
That's gone solid. Harness around my waist. Can I have the light out of my face, please? I need to. Thank you. Can you get that away, please? Neville!
I'm on the trail of a legendary freshwater beast. After a lifetime of dreaming, 20 years of searching,
That's more serious.
and months in the jungle, now I have one on my line.
That's a lau. It's a lau.
This gear is designed for the heaviest ocean giants. But is it strong enough?
Just round a rock.
I'm using thick monofilament line for just this reason. But it's being tested to its limit. I can't let that line break.
Can you get that away, please? We need to be careful with this. That's good, it's out of the rock, whatever it was.
But this fight is not over yet.
The fish is nowhere near tired yet. Neville! We want the rope, please. There it is. Just be very careful, Neville. The fish could kick off, even though it's like this. Can someone hold me around the waist?
It's an unbelievably muscular animal, built for speed and power.
What I might try and do is get that hook out first.
And there's its signature weapon, that enormous mouth.
Ow! It's got a bit of a bite. I want to bring it somewhere where it can't, if it kicks, it's not sloping down.
I have to work quickly to remove the hook
Good.
and measure this enormous beast. I don't want it to be out of the water any longer than absolutely necessary.
In inches. And girth in front of the dorsal fin is 50.
I'm having to use scales designed for lifting concrete blocks.
Sounds okay. Lift, lift, lift. Oh, oh.
258, 256, 257, 254.6. I think, guys, you can put it down. So that's a 250-pound fish.
My whole life, I've longed for this moment.
Only just starting to be able to think straight. This is wonderful. This is absolutely wonderful. This I'm going to remember. The size of this fish and just the drama of getting it in. What a beast this is. Lift. Well, I came here with a very simple question I wanted to answer. Can these fish grow big enough to be potentially dangerous to humans? Can they even engulf a small human? And I'd heard stories. President Roosevelt's account inspired me to look for one. He never actually saw one, but here it is. This moment is actually very short for us. I think it's got to go back in, and we'll let it swim back down into the depths. Whew. I really actually wanted to sit and just look at it and look at it and look at it, but you can't. I think there's every chance that fish will never be seen by anybody again. There's bigger ones down there, believe it or not, there are bigger ones down there. But maybe that's big enough for me for now.
If ever something was worth waiting for, it's this. The river monster of a lifetime.